Hello students, I am going to take up your history class. Your chapter is the expansion of British power. This is for class 8th. So I'll start with the British East India Company was formed in 1600 to trade with India. First, they sought order from Mughal Emperor Jahangir for permission to trade with India. On getting permission, they started their trade, but the wealth and prosperity of India made them greedy. They gradually started to think to establish their rule in India permanently. They succeeded in course of time in their aims and exploited India to the climax. This affected all spheres of Indian life negatively. Mercantilism and trade wars. Economic exploitation was the basic element of British colonialism. The East India Company was a trading company. It bought costly commodities from abroad and exchanged them with the Indian cloth, spices, and various other items. Because of this policy of free trade, the English goods flooded in the Indian market. Without any check, soon India became an economic colony of England. Trade war. Portuguese were the first European who came to India and established their factories at Calicut, Cochin and Cananore on the western coast. Later inspired by the Portuguese, the Dutch of Holland established a business company and started the trade with eastern countries in 1602 AD. The main motive of these companies was to have trade with East Islands of today's Indonesia. That is why they did not pay much attention to West India. Then we have the Anglo-French rivalry. England and French were the arch rivals, and in India their trade interests resulted in a series of wars. All these wars were together known by the name of the Carnatic Wars because most of these wars were fought in the region of modern states of Tamil Nadu. These three Carnatic Wars between English and the French during this period from 1744 to 1763. Then rise of the British power in Bengal. The English had strongly established themselves in South. Now they decided to fulfill their ambition by extending the empire in other parts of India. The conquest of Bengal became their next target. After the death of Murshid Quli Khan, Aliwardi Khan became the Nawab of Bengal. He was very able ruler who improved the condition and maintained peace and order. Then we have Battle of Plassey. On 23rd June 1757, the battle between English and Siraj-ud-Daulah took place at Plassey. The forces of Siraj-ud-Daulah were defeated and the Nawab was killed by the English in the battle. The Nawab's two commanders did not join the war on the promise of being made the next ruler of Bengal by the English. Then we have Battle of Buzar. After the Battle of Plassey, Mir Jafar was made the Nawab of Bengal by the British. After establishing Mir Jafar as a Nawab, the company began to interfere in the affairs of Bengal. Then the officials of the company began to collect money from Indian merchants to whom they sold the stocks of free passes. This was getting impossible for Mir Qasim to tolerate these unfair practices. So he tried to bring to an end to these corrupt practices and abolish all duties of internal trade. He also reduced the expenditure on administration. Then we have Sly's dual systems. As we know, under the Treaty of Allahabad, the company had got the Diwani rights, the rights to collect the revenue from Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, and control over the army in Bengal. But the responsibility of looking after the welfare of the people was left with the Nawab. This system, introduced by civilized slavery, was known as the dual system. Then we have Anglo-Mysore War. Hyder Ali became the ruler of Mysore state in 1761 and continued to rule efficiently till 1782. Later, his son Tipu Sultan took the charge of the administration of Mysore in 1782 and ruled till 1799. From 1761 to 1799, during the reign of Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan, Mysore continued to be a powerful and prosperous state. Both father and son did not accept the British supremacy. Then Anglo-Maratha conflict. After crushing defeat of the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761 by Ahmad Shah Abdali, they had become very weak. They had lost a generation of the brave fighters and even commanders. The Peshwa became the head of the Maratha Confederacy when they gathered strength once again and had to face the British aspirations. Anglo-Sikh War. The rise of the Sikhs as a political force in 18th century India is marked as a very important event in the history of Punjab. In the end of the 18th century, Maharaja Ranjit Singh started the work on establishing an organized Sikh empire. During the period of his rule from 1799 to 1839, he maintained friendly relations with the British. These cordial relations were the result of the Amritsar Treaty of 1809, by which Satluj was made a dividing line of the rule between two. Then we have Anglo-Afghan War. During Lord Auckland's tenure, the Governor General, the British were fearful to attack on India by Russia. The British wanted to put Shah Shuja on the throne of Afghanistan by removing Dost Muhammad. They brought Kandahar, Kabul and Ghazni under their control. Dost Muhammad was captured and Shah Shuja was placed on the throne. Akbar Khan, the son of Dost Muhammad, rose in revolt 1842 and British troops were forced to leave Afghanistan. Several of them were killed and some died due to the freezing cold. Some of the British troops were made captive as well by Akbar Khan. The growth of colonial army and civilian administration. Civil administration. The English East India Company came to India to promote trade and commerce, but the English soon began playing their games to intrigue as the Indian rulers were themselves divided. The inspirations come to them from their victories in the battles of Plassey and Buxar. The grant of Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Odisha further encouraged and helped them to consolidate themselves, and they very soon established a vast empire. In the beginning, the English left the work of administration to the Indian ruler themselves, but very soon they raised that for the sake of effective administration, they should introduce their own administrative system. Then till 1853 AD, all the appointments were made by the directors of the company through some nominations were also made by the members of the Board of Collectors. In 1853, the system of the open competition was introduced to recruit the civil servants. In matter of recruitment of the civil servants, Indians were completely ignored. All posts worth more than rupees 500 a year were kept reserved for the Englishmen. This rule has been in practice since 1793 and was applicable to the police, judiciary, army and engineering department. The Indians were deliberately excluded from all responsible jobs. The Indians were put to lower positions as these services were cheaper and Indians were easily available for them. Lord Cornwallis created a number of posts at a district and village level with the officers and employees to work in different capacities. The army was the second most important pillar of the British rule in India. When the British ruler succeeded in establishing a huge empire, they need a strong armed force to maintain his empire. But after 1858, the British introduced significant changes in their armed force and took intensive care about its organization and functioning. British Army played three important roles in the expansion of the British Empire. The army saved the company from the European rivals, conquered and dominance of the native rulers, and crushed revolts. The Indian soldiers were mainly recruited because they were available at lower salaries. The higher rank held by the Indians was that of the Subedar. The company gave more salaries and provisions to its soldiers than any other Indian ruler could afford to pay. But the company continued discriminating against the Indians and debarred them from positions of responsibility and honor.